So last night, Wednesday, we talked about the Good Samaritan. We finished our series on grace, and grace, we talked about what it means. That grace is getting something you don't deserve. It's a free gift. We are saved by grace through faith. There's nothing we can do to earn it. It's a complete, unearnable gift that we can never feel like we've done something or so much good that we have earned it. It's a gift. Next, Bree talked about a picture of grace using the prodigal son and us as sinners, as people who have fallen and wasted a lot of opportunities. God always wants us back, runs to us, offers his never-ending grace. And then yesterday we talked about the Good Samaritan and what it looks like to have grace in everyday life. And so I want to tell you a quick parable of a junior hire that maybe can relate the parable of the Good Samaritan a little bit more to where you guys are at right now. So there was once a kid, and he was the kind of kid that no one really knew. He always kept to himself. Everyone just assumed he was weird or strange. He never seemed to really smile. He was always alone, sitting at the table eating his lunch. He sat in the back of every class he was in. And one day, he fell really hard on his bike home from school and couldn't get up. And by chance, an athlete, one of the athletes in your school, came walking by and had an opportunity to help this kid. And immediately, the athlete recognized the kid from school, didn't know his name, didn't know anything about him, but recognized, oh, that's the guy that always sits alone. And instead of helping, he walked to the other side of the sidewalk to make sure that it didn't look like he could see him. From anyone else's vantage point, if they saw what was going on, he was off the hook. And he went about his day and forgot about the kid who's hurt and injured. Secondly, one of the most popular kids in class, the kid that is on student council, student government, he always gets votes when it's a popularity contest. He comes by and there's the boy beaten up, hurting, needing help desperately. And the same thing goes, he didn't want to get his hands dirty. He didn't know the kid. He didn't feel like he owed him anything because they weren't even friends. They weren't even acquaintances. He knew his name, but that's just because in one of the classes they shared, the teacher was constantly on his case. And so, yeah, sure, he knew his name was Mike. That's all he knew. And so, instead of getting his hands dirty and showing grace, he decided to walk on the other side, to walk by, to let that opportunity for grace slide by. Finally, there was another kid who didn't always fit in. In fact, he was the kid that seemed to always be embarrassing himself in school, saying something that would get a funny response from a teacher or another student. He tripped and spilled his lunch everywhere just 2 days ago. Not real high on the social ladder in school. But he sees this boy who he wasn't friends with either, didn't know him. In fact, they had nothing in common. They didn't like the same things. They wore completely different clothing. They ran with different crowds. But he saw that this kid was hurt. And he knew that he had to extend love to him, extend grace. So he took him and he saw what was wrong. And he called his parents on his cell phone, and he got the help that the boy needed. In Luke 10, a lawyer asked Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" And Jesus told a story similar to the one I just said. And at the end, Jesus said, which one of them was a neighbor to the man? Which one of them showed the extent of what it means to love? And the man responded, the one who showed mercy, the one who had pity, the one who extended a hand of grace, even if it meant getting messy and uncomfortable and awkward, the one that would go above and beyond to extend grace and love to a fellow brother or sister. Jesus said, go and do likewise.